Hi, welcome to Alamo Sewing Time. I'm Natalie from Alamo Quilt Shop. I'm sorry we missed you live yesterday. We had some technical difficulties that we need to work through. I think we've gotten those fixed now and we should be able to come to you live again next month. So today we're going to work on some hexagon projects. And first what I thought I'd do is just take you through some of the basics of hexagons. I've drawn some common shapes for you, or not shapes, they're all hexagons, but different ways that hexagons can be assembled for quilting. This is just a basic one, which would be a solid piece of fabric. This one here would be 6 triangles joined together. Sometimes people use these for 3-dimensional cubes by using different values of fabric in here to give you a look for a cube. The same thing with this one here. This one is made of 3 diamonds. As far as measurements of hexagons is concerned, when people talk about what size they're using, they're referring to a finished side of the hexagon. So if this were a 1/2-inch hexagon, for example, the length of this side right here would be 1/2 inch. Some other basic measurements, if you need them for planning purposes, the length from one point to another point in the hexagon is actually 2 times the length of one of the sides. So this line right here would be 1 inch if this were a 1/2-inch hexagon. And then the distance from one side of the hexagon to the other side is the square root of 3 times the side, or 1.73 times the side. Again, that can be helpful if you're planning, if you know you need something that needs to fit within a specific space. This would help you with some measurements. I found a great illustration on Wikipedia for how to draw your own hexagon. If you need one for a project and you don't have a template for it, there's a very easy way to do that yourself. I'll post links of these measurements and also the how-to of making your own. I'll put those in the documents under the Alamo Sewing Time Facebook group. So the way that you do this, this one here is a 2-inch hexagon because these sides here are 2 inches. So in order to draw that out, what I did is I started with a straight line across the paper. Then I took a compass and I set it to 2 inches because remember, for a 2-inch hexagon, it's 2 inches from one side, 2 inches along one side of the hexagon. And if you remember, point to point is double one side. So I'm setting my compass to 2 inches and I drew a circle using that setting. Once I had that circle drawn, then I can move the point of the compass over here to this intersection where the circle intersects with the line, and I drew a 1/2 circle within the original circle itself. I did the same thing over here, drew another 1/2 circle within the circle, and that gave me the curves that you see here. Once I had all of those, I took a ruler and drew from each of the points where the 1/2 circles or the line intersected with the circle, and I drew all the segments. So you can see we have the hexagon here. So now if I wanted to, what I could do is take some template plastic and trace over that, or just use a piece of paper, and that would be my template for a 2-inch hexagon. So what I'd like to show you now is a way that you can sew hexagons together without using English paper piecing. I've never used the English paper piecing method myself. I learned to do this from Carol Morrissey. She designed a tool I'm going to show you in a minute, and I have a way of marking these hexagons so that I know where I'm sewing from point to point. So there's no need to baste this over a piece of paper and then sew them together. So this is the hexagon, and like I said, it was designed by Carol Morrissey. This is the 1-inch finished size, and what she's done is she's placed some holes in the hexagon, and she's also got some lines on here for reference if you want to use these to fussy cut fabric. I'll show you a couple projects I did in just a minute where I fussy cut the hexagons out. But what I'm going to show you quickly is the method for marking these so that I can sew them. So this is the right side of the fabric. What I'm going to do is turn it over on the wrong side of the fabric. I'm going to place the template over the piece of fabric, and then I just take a pencil. On this particular one, I've got a white sew line pencil, and I'm going to draw my points on each of the hexagon here. This actually works a little bit better if you do this on top of a few layers of fabric. You know, fold up some muslin or put some fabric underneath it, and it works a little better. These might be a little tough to see on camera, but there's a white mark on the fabric now, right here, and another one here. And when I'm ready to sew my hexagons together, all I'm going to do is I'm going to put them back to back, and I'm going to take and I'm going to sew from this point to this point. And I can do it by hand, or I can do that by machine. So these are a couple of examples of some hexagon projects that I did where I actually fussy cut them. So I used the lines on here as reference points so that I got them all lined up identically on the fabric, so when I sewed them together they all come out the same. For this particular one, I'd never done any hand sewing. I was a little chicken to do so, so I sewed this one by machine. The most important thing, whether you're hand sewing or machine sewing, is to absolutely not go beyond the dot on the fabric, even if you have to lift your presser foot and push it right into the right spot. If you go beyond the dot, then your hexagon's not going to lay down correctly. There's also another product on the market, a gal by the name of Kathleen. She's got a company called Stamps by Kate. She's got many additional sizes, and the theory with hers is she's got some rubber stamps where you can actually stamp on here, and it draws the sewing lines for you in addition to where you start and stop. Her website is bykate.com, and that's another neat thing to check out. So I decided I wanted to do a small hexagon project of my own. I wanted to do some flowers, but I didn't really want to do the grandmother's flower garden. I wanted something different. So I found a website where you can actually print hexagon paper for free. The nice thing about this, at least the website that I found, is that you can actually print these any size that you want. Just by adjusting the settings on the website. It's very simple to do. So I used this as my template for designing some flowers. So then what I did is I sat down and just got a box of crayons. You could use colored pencils as well, and just kind of started drawing some flowers and creating a bouquet of flowers where you've got some partial flowers in addition to some whole flowers. I have a vase drawn on this one. I didn't like the way this looks, so what I may end up doing is actually freehanding one and appliquing it on there when I'm finished. Not sure, but this is the finished project of what I did. So after I got the design done, I cut out several hexes. I figured out what fabrics I wanted to work with, and I cut several so that I could play with them. I put them up on a design board, and you may notice that the finished bouquet is a little bit different from the one that I draw. Once I put it up on the design board, I made a few changes to it so that I was happy with the final thing before I sewed it together. Then I just hand-pieced the entire thing. This is my first hand-pieced hexagon project, and pretty pleased with how it came out. I found out it's really not difficult to do hand sewing, and was able to, you know, sit around visiting with family while I got some sewing done. This particular one, I just added some pieces. You can see I put hexagons all the way around it, and then trimmed those down and added some fabric to sew it up. When you do a project, you may prefer to just do hexagons all the way around. It's completely up to you. I was lazy and looking for a quick way to get it completed fast. So now I've got a block. I could either use this as blocks in a quilt, or like I said, I may add a vase down at the bottom of this, and possibly even some flowers, applique some flowers around it to give it a little more of a realistic look. So this was a lot of fun. I encourage you to try something yourself. If you are going to cut them apart like I did, I would suggest that you probably want to run just a quick stitch along here to stabilize these, because these seams along here will be very vulnerable. So our special for this weekend, we always run a special for folks who watch us typically live or anytime during the weekend. So for this particular weekend, we're offering a sale on the hexagon templates. They come in 3 different sizes. This one makes a 1.5 inch finished hexagon. This one makes a 2.5 inch finished hexagon. And there's the 1 inch that I was working with earlier. There's also a setting mate that's available, and this you can either make triangles or you can cut them on a fold and make diamonds out of them. And they are designed so that they work with each of the 3 hexagon templates. We'll have those just for people who've watched this video. You can buy those on sale through the end of Monday. And when you go to the website, alamoquiltshop.com, you just enter coupon code HEXI, H-E-X-I, when you're ready to check out, and the system will take 25% off of those for you. I will post pictures, actually links for the free paper, as well as a link to the illustration of how to draw your own hexagon. Those will be under documents under the Alamo Sew in Time Facebook group. And to encourage you to give this a try, we'd like you to post pictures of hexagon projects that you've done, whether you've done them previously or something that you try after watching the video. There's no reason you need to do the way we did with the piecing. If you like English paper piecing and that's a process that's comfortable to you, there's no reason why you can't do that as well, designing your own template and sewing the hexes together. A lot of people have a stash already of hexes pre-made, so dig out your stash and get creative and put something together. So to encourage you to do that, post pictures in the group, and we will do a drawing next weekend for anybody who's posted a picture this week, and we will be giving away a stack of 6 free fat quarters for one person who posts a picture this week. So thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you next month on Alamo Sew in Time.